this meeting.
plan,
I'm
like the shop straight across from where the proposed area is.
All right, it is Monday, July 6th, it's 6 PM. We'll call our meeting to order. Start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next we'll have the roll call.
Hayward,
Yes.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister,
Yes.
Coolman, Alinger,
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna have a switch in our agenda. I'd like to move item 5 and down to where number 7 is, and move number 7 up to where item 5 is. Can I get
You're gonna move the presentation up in public participation
Which one?
directly
Right.
under,
directly under the public
after the
participation?
presentation.
right.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Colister, seconded by Alinger. If we have no discussion, take the roll.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister,
Yes.
Alinger,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hayward.
Yes.
All right, that means we go to presentations. I'll kick that one to Josh.
Thank you. So, first, thanks for coming, everyone. It's nice to know that people are interested, that pay attention to our council agendas. We pass a budget here with no one, so comments very welcome tonight. This is at a point where our council knows some about this, and this was intended to be a catch-up for the public to see where we're at. And so this will be underwhelming to some. This will be a good kind of primer on where people may be at with our council feedback, but as well as, from our management perspective, what we may or may not be capable of relative to this industry. So I hope that we have some good discussion tonight. I think the rules of the road, in a way, are to be civil, respectful, the same way that I or anyone else on the council will treat you. We'll just be open-minded, open-hearted, and we'll talk about some of the things that are inside this presentation. And this is meant to be introductory. This may potentially be one of several meetings over the next 2 or 3 months. So with that in mind, I just wanted to, affirm my appreciation that people are here tonight, concerned about this topic, want to learn about this topic. From my perspective, I completely understand that there's people that are just dead set against this, and I'm hoping to educate people in this process. I realize that may not go 100% well. In the title, putting people first, it's not quite a misnomer, but it's important to the conversation in total because we have a lot of challenges here in the community. So as we move through this, one of the things that the council's challenged me with is, okay, well, tell me more about this, but what's in it for me as residents or renters or trying to improve the quality of life here? And that's what this presentation's about tonight, as we offer this as an introduction as to what we have going on. So. Purpose of this is to educate first, explain the proposal second, and by the end of this, I hope you understand as much as I do currently. What we're trying to do here is establish some ground rules over what it may take to do data center business here. And I want to share with you what we've reviewed so far, being utilities, land use, sound, light, tax impacts, quality of life. And I expect City Council to ask questions after this if there's points that you're aware of, or maybe things you've heard from residents over the weekend. And we'll have some discussion and, of course, public participation afterwards to carry into the next set of meetings. to catch folks up on how we got here. First off, in 2025, I executed a land engineering study explaining, or at least researching, how data center ready are we? Early 2026, this topic fell off a cliff. 75 projects across the country worth $130 billion have been delayed or canceled for various reasons. They don't fit, community opposition, it doesn't make sense. And we were introduced to a prospective developer in March, like Chris Krogman and I from the Maquoketa Municipal Electric Utility have several times over, 10 times over the last 2 or 3 years. And it always starts with the utility. None of this matters unless the power providers are comfortable, and then it's a land question. And nothing around here in unincorporated Jackson County or to the city thus far has been credible. And I'm not kidding about that number. It's been 10 plus, and it's a non-starter with your Maquoketa Municipal Electric Utility. It's not an investor-owned utility. It's not Alliant. It's not a Mid-American. You have a city-owned utility with local controls, measuring the numbers, and you can go to those people and explain to me how this proposal is gonna either hold my rate steady or even drop it. So that is a very key distinction in this whole project. We really started to feel we were getting a credible conversation with this developer. When they met with us, they also explained, we're not looking for 4 cents a kilowatt hour. As residents, I don't know exactly what it is, but I believe we're 12.5 cents a kilowatt hour. It's not uncommon for these cryptocurrency shops to not invest in a structure and then want 3.5 cents or 4 cents a kilowatt hour out of some group like the utility. It's a non-starter conversation. So when they start saying things like, we'll pay for all the infrastructure upgrades and we'll pay a fair market rate, all you gotta do is put a meter there, as the city or as the electrical utility, you think to yourself, okay, that's a good start. And that's where this became credible. Then we started having some land conversation. That's when I started coming to some community leaders and saying, hey, this is now at a point where it needs to go from an economic development desk to community leaders to city council. I was instructed to catch the public up and be transparent, and let's take a pause here and try to get some good education in place. And I think one of the key distinctions is that your city council, school board members, a couple of them, county representative, county auditor, I asked them openly, hey, do you have advice on where to start communicating? And there's no great ideas other than just be honest and just be transparent and catch the people up, which thank you again for coming, and this is why we're here. So why are they delayed or canceled? I think that has a lot to do in the developer world about how this topic has evolved. The common questions as we talked about are electrical upgrades. The first thing I hear from people is about water. How do you mitigate noise, local frequency sound, light, safeguards, other technology changes? What you see somewhere in eastern Iowa where I think we need to study this and think about, okay, well, yeah, this isn't a Dubuque project. We're not incorporating land into city limits outside of the city. This, a little bit of the same in Piasta. I don't know what Cascade has going on. I just want to communicate too, this is nowhere near the size of Clinton's project. And this project we have here in Maquoketa is the envy of the development, economic development, and administrative world because they didn't create this condition. Midas and Timber City Development Board, that generation of leadership in the city set this ground to be something someday, and it's been sitting And what are we ever going to do with it someday? Hopefully we sell some ground for manufacturing purposes, but here we are on an opportunity. And these are the types of discussion questions we should ask ourselves for the better good of the community. So with our Maquoketa approach, we wanted to get in front, ask hard questions early, measure our existing conditions, and make sure that we have an enforceable document with our developer that gets recorded and is passed along either to them or to their successors as facilitators. It's not uncommon in this development world for data centers to see these become co-location facilities. That doesn't mean Bitcoin mining. That doesn't mean, fans and other nefarious uses. Co-location means it could be part Amazon, it could be part Facebook, it could be part Microsoft. They're basically hosting servers as companies for these services, and that's a little bit above my head, but you see that term tossed around frequently now in some of these mid-sized proposals that these are co-location facilities. I feel, now I know our utilities, but going back about 3 weeks ago, what really maybe sets our research and proposal apart, and I didn't know what we were going to find at all. I was interested in taking sound measurements around town, and I was going to test that against where data centers are live and operational, actually built and in service. Not so much rumor or planned. What are they like at the end? And I went around town, went around this 1000 South 5th, 800 Timber Drive, morning and night, Generac Drive, 1220th, Union Cemetery at morning and night. And let me tell you, a hawk in the middle of the night scared me in the middle of the night. That was not comfortable. But you recorded a sheet in one of your documents about DBAs and DBCs. And, that doesn't measure low frequency sound, but a large deviation between the two indicates there may be a low frequency sound issue. That would all be evaluated as part of a sound study and agreement at a later time. But what I feel like really separates maybe this conversation apart from others is that we did this and we've shared it publicly. I wanted to show what these are like in communities, and there's neighborhoods right on top of these other facilities and other locations. And we wanted to make sure that we were testing facts from hearsay. And what we learned, and I went to Des Moines at night, in the morning. I didn't know what I was going to find, but I was expecting noise. I didn't have noise. I didn't have noise from power lines. I didn't have noise of humming. I went to a very large power generation site, the Greater Des Moines Energy Center, that generates the largest natural gas plant in the entire state for power generation. There's noise there. It falls within a low DBA level, but I wouldn't want to live next to it. But that wasn't the case with any of these data centers that are hooked in to the grid, and there was no sound. I was frankly surprised. When I went back, this is about 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday morning, I stopped over at another energy natural gas plant. I went to Facebook in Altoona, largest Facebook site in the world for them. Right now it's 3.6 million square feet and expanding. Same observations, no sound. All I heard was distant I-80. And again, you pass by it. It's one thing to actually stop and listen. And there's a farmhouse right across the street. You could throw a baseball and hit the substation that was that close. And I didn't have a great plan other than acting like an awkward street salesperson. And I went up to the door and I just assumed they'd be overtly negative. And this gentleman sat me down on his front porch like a friend he hadn't seen in 20 years. And he said the construction period's the nuisance. Otherwise, he goes, the conversation around these is and I don't mean to offend anyone, but this is gonna sound bad. He goes, this is overblown. And that was his comment. He goes, I don't envy you. And I'm like, did you sell this land? No. And that kind of comment was consistent across that site. There's another gentleman kitty corner immediately next to this that warned, hey, I don't know what you guys have cooking up, but make sure you have a truck parking shoulder for these trucks to stop when they have to replace servers and materials or bring in metals or whatever else. He goes, the cops get called here weekly to move along trucks. There's no shoulder on that road, and that's the nuisance to him. And he can't see Altoona's fireworks from Adventureland anymore. But, you know, and at that site, there was one person that I wouldn't classify her as absolutely data center negative. She didn't report any quality of life issues, but she didn't like the industrialization of Altoona and what it had become. And her house is up for sale. She was, you know, this very close, but, you know, I asked her if she felt like her home had been devalued, and she couldn't say that, and her realtor couldn't say that, she said. So I moved on to some sites over by West Des Moines. There's several Microsoft sites in West Des Moines. Stopped in a neighborhood, same exercise, and some residents didn't even know it was a data center down the hill from them. Stopped in City of West Des Moines Public Works facility, talked to the receptionist. Very positive towards this topic overall. So I want to just communicate to you, and I know not all of you are going to believe me on this, but the people that are actually living next to these facilities post-construction are not having a difficult time with them. Be happy to share these documents with anyone. So what can I tell you about what's being discussed? First thing, I believe that I believe in a non-cryptocurrency data center, seeking a real product for a real business, whether that's Netflix streaming to your TV or some other version of cloud computing or predictive technology or Amazon's Rufus trying to tell me what to buy next in the Amazon cart. I mean, all these things go into what we call the data center world. We're talking about a small to mid-size data center, any which way you cut it. The large ones that you may hear about in other locations with massive acreage, they're next to a 345 kV line system. And there's no 345 kV line systems anywhere near Maquoketa. So we are limited. We are not we're not overly creative in this proposal. We only have a 161 kV coming into the substation west of town. It's got capacity, but there's substation upgrades that would need to be added to it. So no matter what I or the council may dream up, we ain't ever gonna be in the ballpark of Clinton or being close to the 345 kV north in the area. So rest assured, this proposal's limited because of that lane. I've talked a little bit about how the developer has offered to be responsible for the facilitation of an end user. All project costs are assigned to the developer and the end user, not the residents or utility ratepayers. All costs, no TIF, no special local deals. The only thing in the data center universe, in the modern data center universe conversation, is that the state of Iowa still has a sales tax exemption for data centers that are constructed at a value of 200 million or more. We don't have a choice in that, but that's the state's ordeal. It doesn't prevent, and I heard this from the director of the State Economic Development Authority a couple weeks ago, your local option sales tax still applies when they have to replace servers. So every time they're buying these chips, you know, the facility will be expensive to build, but when they have to replace chips, you're gonna get the 1% every time. And that's an enormous boost to our local option sales tax that gets turned back to our parks, reduces wastewater rates on our bills, reduces property tax. The developer has promised potential partnerships to include industrial greenhouse uses, and potentially a biocoal supplier from Quality Flow Environmental. I don't know if the community remembers Quality Flow Environmental. Really inventive technology, turning flush manure into usable biochar and biocoal. One of the products, one of 5 products for that company, was potentially replacing coal power with biocoal. I mean, you can just imagine where this may go. This is a perfect trial for them in a way. It may or may not work, but they're willing to try it. Mid-American Energy and Alliant won't let Quality Flow Environmental even do test demonstrations on this. And here we have potentially an ag-based powered data center, a small one. So, and I want to remind the public to be, I guess, a little bit rest assured that this meeting isn't designed to pass a data center. This is informational, it's educational. We are some distance away from setting a public hearing, having a public hearing, and then having an authorizing resolution to engage in any sort of option that would even set us down the path. The point is that, yes, we're in advanced discussions about having one, and it's pretty clear to me that Maquoketa is the envy of the area in terms of having land available in city limits, zoned correctly, next to a highway, and with great utilities. And this is one of those transformational opportunities in front of the council. I've said this a lot in interviews with Luke or with Kelly, with anyone else, that I don't believe that data center proposals are created equal. Some of them don't fit. You know, about a month ago, Jackson County had their discussion, and I'm not sure that unincorporated Jackson County has an active proposal. The only one I was aware of was the Spragueville project, and I don't know if it's active or not anymore. But what I'm getting at is that I know that one was cryptocurrency based. I know that these don't belong everywhere. I know that Miles can't begin to even think about hosting a site like this, or Bellevue. There's topography issues. I would never sit here and think overly hard about pushing this towards a community that can't actually even begin to think about having one. And if Jackson County ever wanted a supporting resolution from the council about not authorizing a data center in unincorporated Jackson County, we'd offer one, I hope. That'd be my recommendation. So much that has to go into it. And this is the reason that you hear about some of these city-county discussions over in Lynn County over unincorporated lands not being data centers. It's because they need to be on city systems that can handle it, that are managed and reviewed by DNR permits for water, for wastewater, for air quality permits. So what makes this different? Again, it's the heavy industrial zoning. Family Dollar is it 20 acres under one roof? It's a number I've heard. I don't know the exact number in front of me. It's next to a 4-lane expressway. When I wake up in the morning, on a still morning, what I hear is the highway in the center of town. The community won't know this is even here in between Husco and Family Dollar. And we have no local incentives in this agreement. Where I came from in DeKalb, just for reference, and you see these agreements, if you really look for it, and Beacon, a GIS system with some of these other places I've referred to, you can see these companies holding their 50% tax discounts and TIF agreements. DeKalb, where I came from, had a 20 or 55% property tax discounts, and the city built them the utility mains to have them. Alderman Verbeek, we had a water tower issue at that time, and my former boss, Bill, was having a terrible time with the change order regarding a water tower. Alderman Verbeek, just like them up here, said, boy, you know, Facebook just came to town. We should ask them to put their logo on the water tower. That's how happy they were to even have them, even with all those incentives and discounts, and that's the climate of those cities still that are operating with them. And so my point is you have a developer here saying to you, all we want is a host city, And we don't want any TIF, we don't want any tax discounts. And if you're the school district or the county, conservation board attached to the county, fairgrounds attached to the county, they don't like it when we TIF expenses. This is the first time in the last, my 4.5 years here. This past year, it's no coincidence. Tara Notes asked me, why are we TIFing? And that's a tough conversation. And it's a sign, it's not a coincidence, it's budget stress. So we have this large public finance challenge that really, it's troubling. You know, I know a data center proposal is stressful to me. It's certainly stressful to our council, it's stressful to you. This is just a part of what keeps administrators in our county up at night. John, who came to me for an extra body in Public Works Department, but I told him no. The school, who lost 73 students in 2025 at almost $8,000 a head. The county, who are struggling to find pay raises for their employees or fund the conservation board or fund the fairgrounds, or even beginning to think how we're going to keep up with our cost of living arrangements without cutting people and vehicles and ultimately service to the residents. And what's really amplifying this issue is that the state legislature this year, besides their other property tax cuts the last few years, this year they passed a 2% growth cap on your properties, which is great. I don't want to pay more taxes either, but it forces everyone's hand to find new construction value and growth somewhere. Insurance, other costs, they all rise faster than 2%. And I interviewed all of our administrators connected to the city, county fairgrounds, conservation board. They're all planning. The budget floodwaters are not looking good. I'm not going to belabor the point. I have it available. But the conservation board and the fair connected to the county, I know the city's stress, I know a little bit about the school. We're all trying to find a way to survive, and this opportunity is one of the best ways to possibly welcome new value and other shots into the arm into the local economy to get everyone moving again. So I talked a little bit about public benefit. Construction activity, which according to my survey respondents was the chief nuisance. What does that do for your short, long-term rentals, your hotels, your food servers, your hospitality businesses, your rock haulers, your contractors, your electricians, your related business that are circular to everything we have going on? There's, I from Cedar Rapids and others, and I was in DeKalb when Facebook was in its construction activity. We used to have to send finance staff down to Facebook's construction project to make sure that there were food trucks licensed, because 20 of them would converge on an area of 1,000 contractors. And we wanted to make sure they were selling food legally. And that can be a problem, but boy, it's a good problem to have. Hotels will be full. Campgrounds in the area will be full. Everyone will have an opportunity to take part in this in some way. I mentioned a little bit about our local option sales tax. The more hotels and occupational taxes we have for hotel, that gets reinvested back into the city to reduce property taxes. If this ends up being a $500 million construction value, that ends up being a $751,000 building permit fee, which we would hire an independent plan reviewer, one of our common players that we deal with, to review all the plans. We would require a construction administrator on site to make sure that they're following the plans and nothing happens outside of what's been approved in a building permit. The land sale at $25,000 per acre will yield opportunities to invest in our next industrial development somewhere, whether it's the end of the cul-de-sac where we're not ownership of property, or another area along Summit, some opportunity will come back to reinvesting in the city's growth and opportunities. We're an excellent warehousing location. No one's willing to put their dollars in place to risk building a warehouse except for the one that's built on South Main Street right now. It's a rare opportunity that we have to put this back to work. And when we have data center comparables, I think the biggest hook when I speak with people that really don't know about this or don't know what they don't know is when I say with Family Dollar's 20 acres under one roof, it's valued at $34 million according to our county assessor. And where I mentioned that some of these data centers are in Des Moines area and Dallas and Warren counties, there's a 41-acre site of Microsoft's that's valued at $246 million. And we don't have to TIF or tax abate anything. And then there's sites much larger than that, not greater than 200 acres, that are valued greater than $800 million. And we're over here complaining about property tax reform in West Des Moines and Altoona and Ankeny and Waukee, and they're sending their legislators to the State House each year to cap property taxes when they have a very different problem than you all or us. Have they found the ultimate revenue cheat code while leaving us behind? It's a question worth asking. I don't know the answer to that, but it's a question worth asking. And so when you look at Family Dollar's bill for property taxes, $933,000 each year, 440 some goes to the city, 300 some goes to the school, 100 some goes to the county, and you become quite interested in supporting a project that will support many of the social and common causes that myself, the council, all have in common with you. So, I mentioned Facebook's Altoona site, largest site in the world for them. Their average daily consumption for water, I don't know where they draw their water from, if it's Des Moines River one way or another. I don't know if it's from the same aquifer source. According to their staff, they use 150,000 gallons a day. It might surprise you to know that our DNR permit allows us to serve an additional 260,000 gallons a day if we wanted to, and we don't have to do a thing. Now, I don't want to portray like, well, if they use no water for 6 months during the winter because it's cold, and then they use 2 million gallons a day during the summer, I don't know that detail. But what I'm telling you is that the industry has continued to evolve for cooling systems. And when you talk to people, my family, my friends, their first question is, what about the water? And I had the same questions of this industry in 22, 23. And I was asked at that time, maybe you should research a little bit more and update yourself on the cooling methods for these sites. And what I'm saying is that you can serve the water with absolutely no threat to pressures, how much water the aquifer has. All those things are completely mitigated. Wastewater, we just finished this wastewater plant as a community. And we can welcome an additional 1.8 million gallons of wastewater flow to that plant. And because of the technology upgrades for the plant, anything that leaves the plant is 90% cleaner than it was just 3 or 4 years ago. We had to reduce our phosphorus and nitrates by 90% according to the EPA and the DNR, and we did. I did the Timber City Adventure Race a couple weeks ago. Was nowhere close to winning, but it's going down the river, and it is shocking what you see in the river. Irrigation pipes straight in, and to, I guess what I'm getting at is, and I don't want to pin the agriculture industry down as like the main problem, but the city's addition to this problem, or the city's contribution to this, ever so slight, is nothing compared to some of the better work that we can put in place in other areas of the pro-environment argument. The treatment of the plant has come a long way. And the electric, as I mentioned, the cost will be assigned to the developer and the end user, not local ratepayers. So, I've mentioned zoning a few times. This has been heavy industrial ground for a very long time. Our heavy industrial code specifically cites this is the area that you'd potentially have pollution for any reason, or slight pollution. Obviously, we're not interested in creating, we're not interested in having like an ADM from Clinton come in and just completely take over the town's air quality. It very plainly describes that this is for unclassified uses, and it's interesting to me that we can process, store radioactive materials if we need to in our heavy industrial district. And we feel, developers feel, like there's no land use categories that are special for this. Where I came from DeKalb, they don't have ordinance, they don't have moratoriums, they have planned development guidelines, and they listen to the building permit process. You see cities right now rightfully having meetings like this and either agreeing or disagreeing to have a moratorium. But many of these cities are developing ordinances to have them. And I think maybe that's one of the more confusing topics right now to a lot of folks, is counties are trapped into, do we want them or do we not want them? And there's cities out there that are welcoming input, but working towards a solution to have them. In our view, is to lock this into a purchase agreement as a strong document that's enforceable. And going back to the size of this property, 46 acres of city industrial property. It's a microfraction of Jackson County property that's going to produce a lot of value. 400-some thousand acres in Jackson County. Same thing in Clinton County. This isn't, I grew up near Galena, Hills, Apple Canyon Lake. This isn't turning bluffs and river views into data centers. This is next to Family Dollar. This is next to Husco. It's just outside the edge of the driftless hills. And the site's connected to Highway 61. So, what we want to make sure that we have from a high level for required protections is a recorded document with covenants that run with the property and bind successors of the property, label utility use limits, nuisance protections, declare that equitable taxation's in place at the same rate that any of you would pay for your own home or starting your own business in any other central business district or commercial district or light industrial district. There's no tax incentives. They pay for all infrastructure costs. And all these low-frequency sound, lighting, construction impacts, and operational impacts remain part of the city's third-party engineering review and building permit approval process. I've had a conversation with the developer that talks about name your demands. Put it in writing. Let's start. And this is our document. This isn't theirs. But and very plainly, they go, never again in history will you ever have another business or developer say, put it to paper and we'll agree. And that's the type of stuff and how desperate a lot of these companies are right now. It also speaks to the profitability of these companies hosting these products, which a lot of us don't understand a lot about. But what my fear is, ultimately, is would we have wanted this to happen 5 or 10 years from now? I heard another rumor today about Lowe's distribution facility may have coming here one day. I hear about John Deere. I hear about Cabela's. So, next steps, as I mentioned, this isn't a data center yes or no conversation tonight. If we get to the point of a public hearing in a resolution, we're still 2 or 6 years away from having one. The construction period, the supply chains, the project timing, the things that have to come together to move utilities and to fit responsibly into the land that's been cited here. And after construction, especially once we have a plan, working with our county assessor, working with our county auditor, to be sitting here thinking about how do we reduce property taxes or reduce franchise fees or scale back our water, wastewater increases, which are, again, another 7.5% this July. That's all absent a data center, and I'm not asking you to find a means to the end, but you should recognize the reasons why a city or others would ever be interested in this and make your own opinions. And so when I say putting people first, growth means protecting our local resources, respecting our quality of life, and answering the challenge of how do we put $1,000 into the pockets of everyone in Maquoketa every year. How many people haven't gone on vacation in the last 3 or 4 years? This isn't unrealistic. This is a conversation that we can continue to have. And I don't expect to have an answer for you the next couple months on what exactly is going to be in it for me, but I can tell you the financial benefit would be there in exchange for properties that already like use in that area already. And you drive into Walmart, you take your left turn from town, you still wouldn't see this. And that's kind of the message I wanted to leave you with tonight, is that this is in the right place. It's in the right zoning. It's in city limits. And having this community educational period and conversation really matters to our city council. They're the ones, and the community leaders I've met with here in the last couple weeks, they're the ones that say, Josh, it's time to really catch the public up to what's going on and let some of this be understood, because this is a really naughty word in the digital world. And I hope that we have good comments tonight. And I know that I don't expect everyone to have a positive appeal towards these. I do hope that the public and the council maintain a good, harmonious relationship, because you all have done a lot of special things around this community. And this is for once a chance to power our city and regional economy by way of private investment and not grants and private fundraising, which we've done a lot of the last few years. I'll close with that, and the public participation period is coming up here in the next part of the agenda, but I want to direct questions to council regarding this. If there's anything they feel I've left out, or if there's other points that should be made about this.
You never really did state the top end of the water usage that's been discussed.
The greatest number I've...
You didn't mention what's been discussed on the top of the water usage.
The greatest number I've heard is 50,000 a day.
Is it closed loop?
Yes.
Okay.
What does closed loop mean?
So the prospective agreement in the exhibit is no evaporative cooling. It's closed. It's not, flush liquid cooling. There's a data center in Council Bluffs, Iowa, for example, that Jackson County Energy District focused on, that uses 3.7 million gallons a day. So the water complaint is very much justified. The modern infrastructure that goes along with these it's a different conversation entirely.
I'm good.
That it, Josh?
For me,
Okay. All right, we move on to public participation. If there's anybody who wishes to get up and address the city council and ask any questions, now's your chance. Just be warned, you have 3 minutes, and it's a hard 3 minutes. So go ahead.
Good. So my name is Nicole Shipley, 901 Timber Drive. My home is located less than a mile from this proposed data center. I attended the April 14th Lunch and Learn, and appreciate that you all were there as well to learn and as much as we could about this. I also would say, with the statements about communication with the community being important, it would be helpful to have some things that might not be during business hours for the public to get educated while they might be at work, and have the opportunity to weigh in. I noticed in the timeline, early 26, Maquoketa data center readiness was shared with credible contacts. I didn't hear how we defined readiness, who determined it, and who those contacts were. I'm curious why they were determining readiness before engaging in community discussions and utility meetings. March 26th, the city was introduced to a prospective developer. It feels clear that we can't say who that is. Is that a fair statement? Are we unable to disclose who we're in conversations with?
I mean, I have permission to, but, you know, Gronin Development's acting as a consultant in pre-development with development partners engaging in this. And that's the limited scope of developer contact that we've had so far. So
How
I
do
want
you
to caution you,
spell that?
Mayor, Nicole, sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
I can't sit here on trial for the next 3 hours, and I'm willing to.
It's not.
If,
That wasn't my intent. I didn't want to press on a question if we
I-
can't disclose that information, just to be
I
clear.
understand that, Nicole, but I just want to caution the council by keeping orderly business together. Public comment periods are usually for public comment and not a back and forth, because it will lead to a lot of conversation, which is fine, but we are again interested in having multiple meetings about this, and maybe we can collect public comments and carry questions into the next meeting too.
I'd like to reclaim 30 seconds, please. I'd also be interested in learning how we're defining data center and what small to mid-sized means specifically. I disagree that we don't need to create new land use policy or ordinances. The I3 zoned ground's already there, so we don't need to create one. There are stricter standards and regulations in our city's mobile home park than they exist today in I3. That's concerning. I'm not aware of any use facilities in that industrial park. I don't believe we have data centers today, but DBC is also not in city code. That is that lower sound rating that was mentioned. It's also cited in the research packet. 85 DBC is generally unsafe for extended repeated exposure. 2 locations, 800 Timber Drive and 1000 South 5th Street, had 75 to 85 DBC range, with 5th Street being 1.15 miles away. Adding more noise, I'm really curious like what the studies look like and understanding more as this kind of unfolds. The last thing that I'll bring up, to the point that
You have
the
15
comprehensive plan.
You
in-
have 15 seconds.
Perfect, let's roll. Future land use map in the comprehensive plan that was developed in 2020 has 255 acres of I3. And data centers are new. It's also cited in the comprehensive plan that cities should review and evaluate it annually and decide if recommendations are still relevant and make adjustments as necessary. And cities should consider more substantial review of the plan after 5 years. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, do we have anybody else who wants to get up and talk, or ask a question? Please, come up. Also, I'd like you to state your name and,
Address.
David Kunzwaller from Bellevue.
okay,
And the council, Google data farmer. This is what I'm reading off for data farmer. A data farmer has 3 distinct meanings depending on context. Precision agricultural platforms using digital tools to optimize crop yields, AI-driven data center development, converting agricultural land into digital infrastructure, or cybersecurity scams, mass harvesting personal information. Digital agriculture, precision farming. In a modern agriculture, a data farmer is a grower who utilizes digital economy to boost efficiency. Tools track plant health, soil moisture, and weather patterns to optimize fertilizer and water use. Top flat platforms, this would be companies. Data farming, an Australian-based digital agronomy platform that offers free satellite imagery and precision agricultural tools. Data Farm, an AI-powered agronomic assistant that generates instant recommendations for nitrogen, seed, and yield operations. Part 2, the AI real estate boom.
when the explosive growth of artificial intelligence, a completely different data farmer has emerged, massive data centers, tech companies and developers are actively acquiring large acres of rural and agricultural land, often paying millions per acre to build high-tech server farms. The conflict, long-term generational farmers in the U.S. Midwest are facing massive cash-out offers that are increasingly opting to place their land in conservative trusts to protect agricultural heritage. 3, data harvesting scams. In cybersecurity, data farming or data harvesting refers to malicious programs of phishing campaigns designed to vacuum up large amounts of personal information, names, and resumes. These data bases are typically compiled by scammers and sold to other parties, scam targeting, marketing, and identity theft. I believe that this is a great opportunity for the city of Maquoketa and the area around Maquoketa to have control over the AI business.
You have 30 seconds.
And I just believe that it's a great opportunity for Maquoketa.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? Going once? Come on. You. Right there, yeah, you. Come on up. Need to state your name and your address, just for the record.
Hello, my name is Lisa Hupp. I live at 314 South Main Street in Maquoketa.
Okay.
And I don't have anything really profound, or I haven't really done a whole lot of research. I just want to say that almost 5 years ago, I moved here from Philadelphia, born and raised in Philadelphia. And this place is heaven. This town is heaven. And every morning I wake up thankful for being here. And we don't believe you, Mr. Boldt. We don't believe you. You're going to say whatever it is that needs to be said to get us to buy into this. But what happens when it's built and we hear it and we feel it and it affects the flora and fauna? And what happens then at that point? What recourse do we have? Do we make a call? Does an adjustment need to be made? Like, what happens then? Because with all due respect, sir, we don't believe you. We don't. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, is there anybody else who wants to get up and talk?
Hi there.
Hi.
My name's Margaret and Zimmerman, and I live here in Jackson County, 3.5 miles from the city center. I've lived here since '99. I want to know, when does the ground break on this data center? Do you have a date set? Obviously not. And I thought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, he's missing, was going to make our decisions for 6,000 people or for 20,000 people that reside in the Jackson County area. But it seems like only one person's going to make our decision and give us the illusion that we have the voice to stand up and say something. And then you talk about quality of life. Our water is very sick here in Iowa. And then you bring these data centers in and they're going to make it sicker. And so how can you say that this is quality of life? Anybody? Guess not. So I don't understand why you guys want to bring a data center here when it's going to raise the heat in the ground, steal our water, because Jeff Bezos already said us humans are taking too much water and not leaving enough for AI. And now we have this coming. And I don't have much else to say because it's probably already done, and just like it is in Clinton, and they keep on telling us it isn't. And that's why they won't pass a memoriam, like they won't do it here. It's already coming.
Anybody else? Going
Before I start, I want to remind everyone something really important here. Local government belongs to the people, not the other way around. Every generation of city leaders.
Could you state your name and address?
Thank you, Mark. My name is Marie Young. I live at 808 Timber Drive. 808 Timber Drive. It's on your packet. Every generation of city leaders makes a handful of decisions that shape what the community becomes, and I believe this is one of those moments for all of you. Tonight, I have a question. What is your vision for Maquoketa? What kind of community do you want to build? Not just for ourselves, but for our children and your grandchildren, and for the families who may someday want to call it home. The way people work has changed. Thanks to remote work, where families and entrepreneurs are choosing communities with great schools, safe neighborhoods, parks, natural resources, thriving local businesses, and a strong sense of place. Those things are built by people. That's why I was surprised by what I found, but most importantly, what I did not find in the packet. It explains zoning, utilities, infrastructure, tax revenue, all of this stuff that was done by one person, not an independent subject matter expert. But what it didn't include is the biggest question: what really is the best use of the land? If we had spent half the amount of time as we did traveling Iowa and asking random people random questions, maybe we could come up with a better idea. But we didn't. Instead, we're going to cave. Maquoketa, we can do better than this. We understand tax revenue matters, but that's not the same thing as economic development. Economic development is measured by permanent jobs, not ones that come and leave, but permanent jobs, housing demand, small businesses, entrepreneurs, and again, families who buy homes and enroll their children in schools and stay here for generations. What opportunity would create the greatest long-term benefit for Maquoketa? Imagine if the same energy put into this like random study
You have
by one
30 seconds.
person was, I'll just skip to the people first part. How about this? People first means protecting our land, protecting our water, and opportunities. It means making decisions that strengthen our community, not just today, but 30, 50 years from now. Years ago, our community rallied around a simple message: Maquoketa can. You guys remember that? Maquoketa can? I still believe that. Maquoketa can ask harder questions. Maquoketa can think bigger and more creatively. And Maquoketa can
You've had
choose
your
a
3
better
minutes.
future for our people.
Come on up.
Hi, my name is Jeannie Carr. I would like to take the opportunity to thank the council and Josh and all the city workers for all the time and effort that has been put into this and all the research by many people. We thank you. Some of us thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Angie Pettit-Lichter, lifelong really resident of Maquoketa, born and raised here, 10-year hiatus in Dubuque. But I appreciate the work and the effort that everyone has put into gathering information. I think from tonight's participation, you probably see in the future you need to accommodate more people and have more comfortable accommodations for people to be able to raise concerns and talk through these things. I want to echo some of what Marie was saying, because I attended the Jackson County Supervisors meeting around county conversation with this. My concern is the same. The long-term vision for Maquoketa, not a temporary fix. My concern, and this is coming from someone whose mother was a small business owner, who works with an entrepreneur who has a business in town, what is the long term for this? I am very concerned about the idea that during a time of building, you have a temporary influx. Oh, our hotels are filled, our restaurants are full. But if you do a little bit of research, it's temporary. They come in and fill up. So those businesses that rely on having access, Codfish Hollow, the wood carvers coming in to benefit MAE and other places, the canine climb. There's many, the fairgrounds, many businesses existing today that would be blocked out of amenities that make them successful during that time. And my main concern is when you project this long-term, 20 years from now, how many people are they expected to employ? Again, like Marie was saying, if the time and attention was put in to researching other potential better businesses that are a better fit long-term, that's what I'm interested in. Because it seems like a lot of time and resource has been put into researching just this one option for the past couple of years. And I find that disappointing. So the other piece that I have to mention, because I am on the Jackson County Conservation Board, that board over the past 2 years has leveraged $2.8 million in grants. They fundraise to help with the expenses that they incur. 2.8 million. I don't know many other entities that have to go to the city and the county and ask for resources that are raising that kind of money to help support what they're also asking for. So I just commend them. They're a great team, and I don't think that should be used as a negative that sometimes they have to ask for money. So, thank you.
All right, is there anybody else? Going once?
My name is my name is CJ Davidson. I live like right across the street from here. My only question is to Mr. Bulk. Really, you probably won't answer. I won't get an answer from anybody. You said you don't want to sit on trial for 3 hours. What if we have to hold somebody in contempt if there's things that happen from this data center? We feel the heat. We lose more water. Like Jeff Bezos said, we're not conserving enough water and humans are using too much. 3, it affects the flora and the fauna and the overall environment. Who do we hold in contempt for that happening to Maquoketa? The council members, Mr. Bulk, the data center company that is putting it forward. Like I said, thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you. All right, anybody else?
My name is Katrina Erickson and I live on South Main. All I want to say is this is not profit for people. This is profit over people. Your logo for this town is one of a kind. If you do this and you enact this, you are just a dime a dozen. You're like any other town. This gentleman here who wants to talk about Altoona and Des Moines and whatever else, this is not Altoona, this is not Des Moines, and this is not Illinois. So that's all. But you're gonna have to change your town logo because you will no longer be one of a kind. Thank you.
Anybody else? Last chance.
Mark Edwards. I live at 6081 231st Avenue. And I have a little, not real knowledgeable on a lot of things. I got my PhD in Maquoketa, poor, hungry, driven. But it does concern me. One of the articles in your pamphlet here says, not only do we not know who the property is going to be sold to, but it also conveys to a blind successor. So with the city always wanting to have a pretty good grip on things, I don't want to see China or someone end up with this, but, and I'm not a very good public speaker either. but I think it should, you know, I don't know the people, but the people interested in the property, that's normally a top secret, but let's not be another hospital sale where we get burnt. Plus the clause in there that they can sell to a blind successor. That really leaves us vulnerable You guys might be comfortable with who's buying it now, but who are they gonna sell it to? They'll flip it right over to somebody else. So, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else going once?
One comment.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Pape. I live here in Maquoketa. I just have a couple of questions, more towards the long-term effect of things. I know that there's been data centers around and stuff, but in this presentation, there's nothing that tells me what the long-term effect of using that much water to cool a system has on that particular aquifer. It doesn't tell me what the long-term effect is on community. You know, you see things on Facebook that just scare you to death. You know, they say ghost towns and all of this. I think that, and I also agree that I don't think Maquoketa should be compared to Des Moines. I think we need to be, if we're going to make comparisons and look at a data center, we need to look at towns that are 10,000 and less that are putting up a data center and what effect it had on that community. And I think that's all I have. Thank
Great,
you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? We'll move on. All right, we have no public hearings. What?
Consent agenda?
Oh, yeah, consent agenda. Can I get a motion for the consent agenda tonight?
Read it.
Read it. You gotta read it.
Oh, right down here. Our consent agenda consists of the minutes from the June 15th, 2026 regular city council meeting and the minutes from our June 24th, 2026 council meeting. Bills payable through July 6th, 2026. New alcohol license filed by Maquoketa Firefighters Association for Class C license. Reappointment of Kendra Beck to the library board and reappointment of Mary Pat Burns to the library board.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Collister, seconded by Bennett. And, oh, Hayward, okay. Do we have any discussion? Then take the roll.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister,
Yes.
Alinger,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hayward.
Yes.
All right, that passes. We get to old
We
business.
take a recess while they clear.
Yeah.
I
Very
just
difficult to hear.
Take a minute pause.
Okay.
Make sure the doors are shut.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Can we get Brendan to maybe,
He's
okay,
right
Yeah,
there.
John.
there we go.
There we go. All right, as I said earlier, we have no old business. We move into new business, which is a resolution authorizing.
The roll on that? I think I stopped it before roll, didn't I?
You're right.
No,
We're through the roll.
Yeah,
we got roll.
Yeah, we got roll.
we're on 10A, correct?
10A, correct,
Yeah.
yes. Resolution authorizing the city clerk to make payment to the appropriate interfund transfers in the sum and record the same in the appropriate manner for the fiscal year 26-27 for City of Maquoketa, Iowa. Do you want to add to that?
It's not a lot to add. This is an annual payroll transfer resolution we do each year. Every time the fiscal year rolls over, it's our first meeting after July 1st. This is our common business to make some transfers from our general fund for payroll.
So moved.
Okay, got a motion by Collister, seconded by Alinger. Any discussion? Then take the roll.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister,
Yes.
Alinger,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Rickrell.
Yes. All right, that passes. Item B is a resolution authorizing change order number 1. It's an increase in the amount of $995.03 payable to Manatts for the South Main Street Improvement Project.
So moved.
Motion by Colister, seconded by Bennett. Anything you want to add?
No.
Okay, then take the roll.
Colister,
Yes.
Alinger,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item C is a resolution authorizing change order number 1 in the increased amount of $9,095.30 payable to Eastern Iowa Excavation and Concrete for the 2026 Maquoketa Street Utility Reconstruction Project. Anything you want to add?
Thank you, Mayor. This is what I would just commonly describe as the buried treasures change order 1 on the utility project. So that's what's in front of you.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Colister, seconded by Hayward. Anybody have anything to add? Take the roll.
Alinger,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister.
Yes.
Okay, we get to item D, which is a discussion and possible motion extending a bid letter date for the Maquoketa YMCA and Aquatic Park Project spray pad set for July 21st, 10/26.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Bennett.
I just want, this is a little concerning to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
let me take a minute here. Plenty of plans were pulled on this for general contractors, subcontractors, and general contractors. Yes, it's not the ideal time to bid, but what we've gathered from our engineer research and architect on this by following up with the GCs that pulled the plans is that this site excavation and prep of the site is really a minority part of the project once you start figuring in equipment cost and so when you put the shed on it, the structure itself and the pump room plus site excavation, there's not a lot of food to chew on for someone that's a large general contractor. And they talked about if you add in some of these other elements, the general contractor gets to add its 10% bump into their bid offer. I will say, I think you ought to be thankful that you didn't receive one bid that was poor. We'd be in a bad position. We are aware of one local general contractor and one out-of-town one that were really surprised at this and also very interested in finishing their bid because there was some local excavator that their computer went down and they didn't get a bid into the general contractor, thus they couldn't put it online. I don't know why these things wait to the last day or last couple hours, but they do. The conversation we had as staff was, if the signals are that bad, let's wait to January. And we've received word from a couple, and we'll push this out to a couple more too, that they're excited that we received no bids and they plan to finish the job they started. So we feel as a team that we should move forward in the bidding. It'll allow for more time and construction to happen. I think it's the worst of two evils, and it's definitely two evils because if you cross July 31st, a number of equipment prices start going into play as cost increases for Vortex. So a little bit trapped, but what we're learning is put it out for bid, and we're seeking your motion to do so.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Bennett, seconded by Colister. And if we have any discussion, then take the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister,
Yes.
Alinger.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. We make it now to reports and communications. Anything from any of the council members? City manager?
I don't really have any related to the topic we discussed tonight. One thing that Clinton's been going through is the need to have meetings kind of reassigned to carry out normal council business. But I'll be very clear and request meetings, and if that has to happen, definitely go through our public notices and try to line up meetings as needed. But with this topic happening on the side, we'll have a regular July 20th meeting that we have to consider and move along to city business at a large scale. So, hour and 15 minutes isn't bad, but I just want to relay that if for whatever reason there has to be a special meeting that's now outside our staff's minds right now.
I would like to say thank you, first off,
Thank you.
for doing that, because I know I pushed it.
And I think the more people that understand the reality of today's data centers, you might see some transition in ideas, thoughts, once they understand. And I thank you very much for, you know, it was kind of hard today, but I think the more people that get to know and understand and really, really, really dig down and find out what could happen, what will happen if, because nothing has been decided. This is an educational thing, which we said we wanted you to do. Thank you.
Yes, you did a very good job.
Yeah.
It was an excellent presentation.
I would concur with that too, is like, there were a lot of public speakers who seemed to somehow, you know, we set the city manager on this task to like go and like try to find the answers to all these things people are concerned about. And then everybody's acting like somehow Josh decided to build a data
No,
center
I know. Sorry.
and bring this to us. And it's just kind of insane that this land is sat for a long time wishing someone would show interest in it. And when they finally do, everybody acts like, what the heck? You know, it's just, I don't know. So Josh, thank you for your hard work on this. And
Really?
and my apologies for the people of Maquoketa who somehow are gonna villainize you or
Because it wasn't you.
villainize
It was
anything.
us
I mean,
telling
you know,
you, everybody needs to know about it.
you
So,
know, we're looking, everybody up here wants the best for
Yeah.
for the future of Maquoketa, and we'll all vote for what's best for the future of Maquoketa to our conscience, once we know all the answers, and nothing's decided. And so it's just, I don't know, it's just offensive to me when people somehow say otherwise, so thank you.
Yeah.
I agree as well, Josh. I appreciate all the research and time that you've put into this. It takes a lot of effort, you know, to go out to those cities and to take those readings and to draw up summaries and charts and graphs. And, you know, we tasked you with a difficult ask, and I really appreciated your presentation. I thought it was very well-rounded, very informative. My hope is that the people that attended here took as much from it as I did. And like I said, really appreciate that you took what we had into account to give to you, and I thought you did a really great job as well. So thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else?
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion by Colister,
Second.
seconded by Alinger. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We're adjourned.